on everyone, welcome back to a brand new rebuild. Hopefully you like the new thumbnail style. Today we are going to be rebuilding Leeds, obviously from bottling promotion last year to Premier League winners, hopefully all within 5 seasons. If you do enjoy the rebuilds, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to get right into it today and learn a little bit about Leeds inside of the game. If you want to get this rebuild file and carry it on at the end of the video, you know where to go over on the Patreon link below, where you can carry it on and also get today's tactic. Let's get into things. So this is going to be Leeds Insider Football Manager, but let's be honest, you know who they are, I know who they are, everybody knows who they are. They're a very well-known team. A 3-star reputation always feels a little bit harsh on them, but again, they are in the Championship, of course. 4.5-star training, 4-star youth, and just 2-star youth recruitment. The owners, they love the club. They've got money to spend. That's obviously a positive to have, which hopefully is going to back us over these next 4 to 5 seasons. Now, of course, going to the overview, they have won a lot of things as a club. 3 Premier Leagues, 2 Europa Leagues, which I think people forget about. 1 FA Cup, 4 Sky Bet Championships, 1 Carabao Cup, and 2 English Community Shields. They're a team that have accomplished a lot, but recently, obviously, it's looking down, isn't it? Last year, very, very unlucky, and to make it realistic, I have placed myself in that Sky Bet Championship, because we're going to try and actually recreate last season, but just get the job done in the end. Now, what I've decided to do is deploy this 4-3-3 wingers tactic, and that tactic I actually made for a Patreon member, so hopefully he doesn't mind me using it because I loved it that much. I want to get it involved in a video. Now, the great thing about this tactic is it's like any 4-3-3 you'll see, but it's very aggressive when it comes to the wingers, and I do think with the options we've got, you know, we've got the likes of Anthony, we've got Rutter, we've got the likes of Somerville, which I will say at the time of recording this video, he is at Leeds. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but he is at Leeds at the moment. The only other player which I think obviously is up for debate is Gray, and if I can sell him, I will sell him, but I'm not going to let him go on the free. So ideally, Gray will be gone, and that will be pretty much it. We've got a lot of players out on loan, that is to be said. Obviously, wingers, Rutter, Anthony, obviously Rutter is more of a striker, but in this season he is going to play there and hopefully get the job done. Now, of course, there are some real big players in this team as we went through. Gray was one of them, obviously gone to Spurs, and the man at the moment who we are going to be using because he's still here is going to be Somerville, an incredible Leeds player, and hopefully one for their sake they can keep because it would be massive for them. Now, what I will go and say is we've also got the likes of Nonto, again a player who is very hot or cold in Football Manager in my opinion. He's either immaculate or he's absolutely abysmal. I'm going to give him a chance to shine in this team. Obviously, Moulier, a fantastic goalkeeper, really, really good player. Where is he? Mark Rocker, an incredible DM player, which hopefully we can get to keep because he's really, really good as well. Bamford probably will be gone. Luke Ayling will probably be gone. Sam Greenwood probably will be gone as well. There's a lot of players in here. Stuart Dallas, you can go as well. Dan James, another player who is very like that. He might do it in the Championship, in the Prem. He didn't do it with United. Can he do it on here? We'll have to go and see. But of course, we are going to make 0 transfers. If you are playing back home, you would have had a budget of £10 million. We are going to make 0 signings and go into these 3 competitions. So I would imagine they are predicted a finish of second. Second place it is. That would get the job done, wouldn't it? So let's get into the first season, see what we can do. I'm aiming for promotion. Anything less is a fail. So to make it quick and be open and honest, we finished where they predicted. A second place finish. We struggled really in the sort of middle part of the season. Our assistant manager went and done one, so I had to go out of the holiday, go back in and sign another assistant because he left us and we were losing a lot of games in that middle sector of the season. Now what I will say is a very comfortable gap from second to third, but Southampton 5 points on us, so 2 teams deserving of going up into the Premier League. And as you can see, Rutter is going to be the top goal scorer, which is really, really good to see. Kamara with 20 goals and Roberts also with 13, which we really do like to be seeing at this point. Somerville, the 3rd most amount of assists. Now, unfortunately for us, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The rest of the competitions, the FA Cup, 3rd round exit against Bournemouth, and the Carabao Cup, a 3rd round against Crystal Palace. So, not a great display in those English competitions, but at the end of the day, the main aim was to get promoted, and we have done that, and that is just that at the end of the day. Now, finances, I'm hoping for at least 40 million. And that will do. That will do. 65 million. Leeds have got money in the bank, and especially with the new Red Bull brand deal, they might have even more money. But 65 million pounds will get us by bringing a few players. Of course, we can go and see who actually got the job done by going over to here and looking at Rutter with 37 goals. Sam Greenwood with 22 out on loan. Where was he out on loan at though? He's on Middlesbrough. It's not a bad, not a bad team to be playing for. Don't know how I didn't remember that. I do think maybe I'll keep him for a Prem season. season, just one. I wasn't going to. Somerville, a great season. Kamara, a fantastic season. Poveda, good season out on loan as well. Nonto, a decent season, nothing incredible. Dallas, a decent season. Overall, it's a really good season with players standing out like Somerville, like Kamara, like Rutter in this team. Obviously, Sam Greenwood did stand out, but for Middlesbrough, so we've got to give him credit, but didn't help us out. Now, overall, of course, there are a lot of players in this team you can put a question mark over. So, for example, Gray, I will not be playing in the Premier League because if we can't sell him, I'll either demote him to the under-19s. I won't let him get game time is what I'm trying to say here. Now, what I will say is, if we filter in our best 11 team, obviously Gray's not even there at the moment, but it is going to be Moulier, Christiansen, Rodon, Stroik, Firpo. Now that back line actually might be okay for Season 1 in the Premier League. I've played with a lot worse in the Prem and survived. That might actually be okay. We've got Ampadu in DM. That's okay. Stuart Dallas worries me, but we'll see what we can do. Rocker, I know, is incredible. Harrison's a decent old player. He's not bad. He's a decent Premier League player. Obviously, on loan at Everton. We are going to get him back, though. So, I mean, he can come back another season. Somerville can stay. Rutter, hopefully, can do somewhat of what he'd done before. But overall, we need to improve certain positions of this pitch because the depth isn't too strong. You could have an argument for two of these midfield players not being Premier League quality. Harrison's 50-50. Let's get into Season 2 of the transfers and go and spend our 65 million. I'm going to aim to bring in at least 4 people. First off, we are going to wave goodbye to Stuart Dallas. He is going to go on the free to Saudi Arabia. Who would have thought that? Kosh is also going to go. I did not want to lose this player, but he did not want a new contract and he left it way too late for me to be able to get a single penny for him. So he goes on the free to Frankfurt. That is a big signing for them. Poveda is going to go to Middlesbrough. Again, another free player going. This one I'm not too fussed about. He isn't much cop. He had a decent season, obviously, out on loan, but it's not the end of the world. First signing is a player that was on loan, and we are going to bring him in on the permanent. That is going to be Joe Rodon, coming in for 10.5 million. To be honest, for that price tag, you can't really get much better, and a player who is going to want to play for a newly promoted Premier League team. It's a big risk for a player to come from elsewhere. He wanted to stay. I'm happy with him. He played well. Welcome in. Same story is going to be told for Connor Roberts. Again, he might not be the best right back you have ever seen in your lifetime, but for £14.5 million, there wasn't much else on the market anyway. And if you look at some of his attributes, they're very unique for a right back. You've got your long throws, your work rate, your teamwork, determination, stamina, fitness. He's just a very hard-working right back. Yes, he doesn't stand out when it comes to crossing or acceleration or pace, but for a system where he's not going to be required to bomb up and down the pitch, he is actually going to fit in quite nicely. Luxury signing and taking up most of the budget, to be honest. That is going to be Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, coming in from Leicester City. He cost me £46 million, but he's English, so again, really good for registration. He's been in England all of his career. He is an absolute baller and he's versatile, so there's so many factors there that factor in that big price tag. Welcome in to Dewsbury Hall. Do you know what will clear out Leicester as well? And you're going to be shocked how much I paid for Ndidi. Have a guess, no cheating. 3, 2, 1. That is right, 3.3 million is what we paid for him because, of course, he wanted to leave as well. He's absolutely incredible. Yes, he is not the player he once was when he was in the Premier League originally, but I think he can come into our team and cause some absolute issues. And, of course, showcasing that team, this is going to be it. So, basically, a Leicester midfield now. But Moulier, Christiansen, Llorente, Stroik, Firpo, Ampadu, Ndidi, Dewsbury Hall, Harrison, Somerville and Rutter. Is that enough to survive the Premier League? Is that enough? For me, it is. I mean, they are predicting a finish of 16th, which isn't too bad for a first season. I think we are going to finish inside of the top 14. I don't think we're going to get in the top 6. I don't think we're going to get in the top 4. That is to be sure. But overall, this team is not horrific. It's a decent team. Let's get into Season 2 and see what we can do, as long as we stay up. Get off to an absolute flyer of the start in a Carabao Cup final against Liverpool. 1-0, stuffs it past Becker. But unfortunately for us, Liverpool turn on a little bit of their jazz. They get back into the game there in the 73rd minute, and they actually go on to win this cup final. We bottle our first final. It's heartbreak. Third round curse continues in the FA Cup as we go out against Palace in 1-0 fashion, but what is a big surprise is we did survive, spoiler alert, and we finished in 5th place in our first season above City, Chelsea, United, West Ham, Newcastle, Brighton, Everton and Leicester go back down as well. And do you know what? That is a ridiculous season. None of our players, apart from Moulier, actually contributed in terms of the player stats in the Premier League rankings, getting the second most amount of clean sheets. But that is a ridiculous first season. And yes, I imagine a lot of the games were quite close. I mean, we drew 8 and lost 10, so it is nowhere near a flawless season, which, you know, Liverpool didn't even have either. They won the Prem, but 9 draws coming in with 2 losses. But if we go over to the squad, we can go and see who did perform. And the thing that I've instantly noticed is the lack of goals that are being scored. We've got 20 as our top goal scorer. That's simply not going to win you a Premier League title. 14 for Somerville, Drewsbury Hall coming in with 10, 8 for Jack Harrison, and Didi with 6. When you've got 20 goals as your top, you're not going to be getting in Champions League. You're not going to be winning the Premier League. It's simply not good enough. That is just a pure fact. Sometimes you've got to be harsh. Now, if we actually look at the schedule, we're not going to go into too much detail, but to be honest, apart from this little stint here, it was very much, you know, win, draw, win, maybe a loss, win, win, win. We didn't get battered really apart from this month here, where we got basically handed it to us with Brighton, Palace and West Ham. Teams you could actually say we could be beating, but I mean, we beat Liverpool here, we beat Manchester United, we've gone down here, we've drawn against Newcastle, sorry, beating some of the weaker teams. We are beating teams and getting points against teams like City, but we just need to string a few more goals together. Now, of course, if we go to the finances, this is where the truth is told. £51 million to go into the third season, and to be honest, it's a fair amount to give us. I mean, yes, I'd sit here and say I want 90 million, of course, but it's not realistic. Now, with 50 million, I'm purely hoping, if we use the homepage to see, this is what I mean. Defensively, second best in the league. Let that sink in. Our defence is completely fine. It's the goal scoring we need help with. So, with 50 million pounds, maybe bringing another winger, maybe a better striker, maybe a better... Our midfield's good though, to be honest. So, definitely some attack, I think. Let's get into season 3. So he's fallen off a fair bit this last season. That is going to be Glenn Kamara. He is going to go to his new home of HSV from Leeds. We are going to lose a bit of money on him. Obviously had a good career over at Rangers, but he decided to take the leap to Leeds. It didn't really work out when we got to the Premier League. He is going to wave goodbye. Goodbye. He never hit the ground running. He is not going to get a look in the team. So Patrick Bamford, I am sorry to the Leeds fans that do love him, but for £7 million, we're broken even, and he can hopefully go and still have a decent career. I've not gone too crazy this window, although I am showing you Tammy Abraham, who is going to be our new striker and hopefully the bagsman of this team. We haven't gone and signed loads of players because players like Tammy require a big wage of £125,000, and he cost me 17 million, which isn't too bad, to be honest, for Tammy, but his wages are fair bit, but he's a player who has played in the Premier League before, had a load of games over at Rome now, played at some real big competitions as well, and I do think he is going to be the perfect fit for this Leeds team. Also lose one Rangers midfielder, but bring in another former Rangers midfielder in Nicholas Raskin, coming in from Rangers for £13 million. Again, a player who's incredibly versatile, 24 years of age, can grow as well, but already a good Premier Division player. He just looks really good, very well rounded, very balanced in terms of where he can play, midfield, deeper, more attacking as well, and he just add a lot to this team. But that is going to be literally the only bit of business that we actually have done in terms of players coming in. This was last season, this was this season, very reserved on the spending, keeping some money back into the bank balance. Now, going into the tactics, the team is going to look a little bit like this. So Moulier, Christiansen, Lorente, Stroik, Vobert, Roca, Raskin, Drewsbury Hall, Harrison, Somerville and Tammy. This front three now looking really, really lively. Now, what I will say is very slowly, and trust me, it is very slowly, we are improving that bench. Of course, bringing in new first team players. So, for example, Abraham comes in, it now means that Rutter's going to be a bench player who can compete for first team, but naturally you improve the bench if you improve your first team. Now, going over to the competitions, we are now playing in that Champions League, which I didn't even think, to be honest, but that is going to be a big step up, and we are nowhere near ready to play in that competition, so we're going to take it with a pinch of salt what happens in that, because we might not even get past the league phase, to be honest. Now, the Premier Division, we are predicted to finish 13th, and I am going to say we want to grow on what we did last season, but that's very hard to do when you finish 5th, so as long as we finish inside the top 7, I'll be happy. Let's get into season 3. So we're going to start off with the Premier League, and we have dropped a position in 6th place, but as I said, I am more than fine with that because we are now playing in the Champions League, and we were tied on points with Villa. It was very unlucky not to get there, and if you look at the goal difference, which was the reason, and it was 1 goal difference that was the difference, so basically the same as what we were last season. Tammy Abraham, the Premier League top goal scorer, proving it was a good bit of business in the end, and overall that's not a bad season because it does show consistency. It's pretty much the same place Leagues with another competition added into the mix. So for me, I'm going to take it. The Champions League actually went a lot better than what I thought, as we don't get knocked out in the round of 16. We get knocked out in the quarter-finals against Liverpool in a 3-1 aggregate game. But I mean, overall, it actually was pretty reasonable. I was expecting to get absolutely battered, but I will take a quarter-final, the other 2 English Cups, the 4th round in the FA Cup, again, not a good display, and 4th round in the Carabao Cup. We need to seriously improve consistency in both of these, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, the Champions League, we might not even ever accomplish. The point of this video is to win the Premier League with Leeds. Now, if we win the Champions League at the same time, perfection. But the chances of that are very, very slim. Now, of course, going to the squad, before I click on the squad, if you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I'm going to predict right now that we have not scored enough goals. Oh, okay, this is the issue then. Tammy Abraham with 40 goals. Now, that is absolutely ridiculous. It's amazing. But then you drop down to 14, and then the players below him haven't even got 10. So when Tammy was injured, which did happen, Somerville was chipping in with some of the goals. I mean, Rutter was coming in and scoring 4, but we need at least 3 or 4 players scoring 20 goals. Whenever you watch these rebuilds, as soon as we hit that sort of echelon of player that is coming in and scoring 20 goals, 22 goals, 24, that sort of region, you got 2 or 3 of them, sometimes 4, you will absolutely dominate not only the league, but the cups and the European leagues. With these stats, it's not going to happen. Now, of course, for the 4th transfer window, we have got a budget of 52 million. 52 million, very consistent with the budgets, aren't they? Around 50 to 60 million each window. And again, if we go to the homepage, it's now balanced out in a negative way because our defence has got worse. We were 2nd best, we are now 6th best, and our goal scoring has improved a little bit, but again, that is purely because of one man in Tammy. Now, overall, I'm going to be honest, we need to still bring in so many players, and we've got players here who simply aren't fit to wear the shirt. Dan James is a good example, Sam Greenwood's a good example, Grover's a good example, Archie Gray's still here, but doesn't play many games, so don't worry about that. Still can't sell him. Nonto is an absolute fraud. I locked him in for part of the season, and he just can't get going. He's a Sky Bet Championship player, for God's sake. He has got to go. He's got to go. Indeed, he's been okay, to be fair. Overall, there's not many players in here who have got a guaranteed position. So let's just get into the 4th transfer window and try and make a push. But I think we're going to have to sell players to bring in some real big faces. First up, we are going to wave goodbye to Wilfred Gnonto. He is not doing a good job at all, and West Ham have been silly enough to pay us £11 million. Take him. Nia Firpo had a great time at the club, but he is now going to move on. He is going to go to Spain, to Cadiz for 1.7 million. Jack Harrison, I was torn with keeping him and selling him, but when you saw the offer I got, which was this, at 17.5 million, for a player who at the end of the day is a 2.5-star ability player and on the decline, we're going to wave goodbye. I didn't want to sell. He was doing amazing as a backup. Not amazing, but okay as a backup, as good as a backup can be. He wanted to leave, and he is going to get his move to the Saudi League for £21 million. And he's, to be fair, the money per week we could have paid him. Why did you leave? Cody Drammer is another player who we've not really talked about, but again has been absolutely diabolical. He's going to go to Hull for 1.8 million. Joel Perot is going to go to Ajax, again a player who never really touched the grass, to be honest. Apart from the first season, we get 8.2 million, a little bit of a loss, but at least we covered up a little bit of the cost we paid out for him. And lastly, Ethan Ampadu, again, a player I probably would have kept, but he wanted to leave, and he's going to go to HSV for £20 million. Now, this is where it gets quite scary, because obviously I've had a big clear out. Now let's go through the players I brought in, but usually when this happens, you clear out loads, you bring in loads, the next season isn't great. So first up, a brand new goalkeeper. That is going to be Mads Hermansen, coming in from Manchester City, so we know he's going to be a good goalkeeper. He cost me a total of 16.5 million, and to be honest, we'll probably get into the first team. He looks really well rounded, and again can grow a little bit in terms of potential. Yeah, we've loaned him in. You saw him on the thumbnail. You're probably thinking, Josh, where is he? We've loaned in Arda Güler, and there's no option to buy, but you can get him afterwards. He'll be a lot of money, but you can get him afterwards. That is purely down to you over on that Patreon file if you do carry it on. If you want him, you get him, because he looks absolutely nuts. And I will say 1.5 million total fee, but can you please just take in his attributes? He looks like an absolute joke. I've paid big, I've gone big for Talaz Mango. Again, we did raise a lot of funds from selling players. This guy's just really good. Can play on the left, can play on the right. Loads of flair in his locker as well. He sent me back 45 million, but he is a player who genuinely could win you a league title. Next up is going to be Badiashile on the loan, but is joining on the permanent as well. This guy's not been playing too well in this save overall, but if you look at his stats from the raw eye, he looks like an absolute monster. So welcome in to Badiashile. Took Johansson, I believe how you say that, coming in from FC Copenhagen, a midfield player again who better plays in the more attacking areas of the field, but overall again a player who for the price tag of £0 on the free, a player valued between 49 and 59 million, you can't really say no. I've also picked up another freebie. That is going to be the previous Man City player Sergio Gomez. Now he didn't really work out at Man City, and you know what, it might be because of his tackling, but I'm going to work with him on a one-to-one basis, improve him defensively, but attacking wise we've got a treat. If you're not signing this guy on the free when you can, you're not playing FM correctly. That is going to be Salih Özcan coming in from Borussia Dortmund on the free. An incredibly well-rounded midfield player, can play deep, can play centrally. Again, he cost me literally nothing, so a big addition to the team. He is on 70 grand a week, but he is some player. A bit of instalments, but a lot of money paid up front. Again, do not forget we raised so much money in outgoings. That is going to be Julian Alvarez coming in. He cost me £55 million, a player that is rumoured to be leaving Man City in real life. Probably not to go to Leeds, but in this game, it is a video game. We are going to get him and welcome him in, and that is going to be our last bit of business. As you can see, outgoings here, 71 million, 66 million spent, so again, a profit being made there, and 13 million in outgoings on that page, and of course, I'm going to call him Mango then, Magno, the big signing, spending 64 there. But the team looks like you've loaded in a completely different one now, as it now looks like this. It is going to consist of Hermansen, Christiansen, Lorente, Badiashile, Wobber, Rocker, Raskin, Johansson, Gula, Magno, and also Alvarez up front. Arda Güler is definitely going to get into the team because he's just an absolute baller, and the bench is now looking really, really nice as well. And I'm going to say it, that front three can win you a Premier League. That midfield can get you top sort of three, I would think, with the players on the bench. The back line, top three sort of vibe again. So I'm going to predict a finish of second, to be honest, because I really think we can just dominate everyone in terms of the front three. Arda Güler looks like the best player I've ever picked up on loan. What an absolute pickup. And I will say, again, a drop-off in competitions, not the Champions League, Europa League. We might even do well in that. But they are going to be predicting us a finish of around about 11th place. I'm aiming for second. Let's go make it happen. The Carabao Cup final, Arda Güler makes it 1-0 with a penalty inside of 24 minutes. Dedic then plays it back horrifically, and Alvarez goes through and makes it 2-0, and we wrap it up 3-0 with another Alvarez goal. Good little give and go there. Look at that for play. Arda Güler link up. It's beautiful. Come this close to winning Europa League, but unfortunately, they get the winner in the 80th minute. Annoying. We do so well in the FA Cup, but bottle the final on pens against Palace. But we've won the Premier League, and I will say it was not done off attacking. It was not done off an attacking record. I've had a little sneak glimpse. We were absolutely incredible defensively, the best team out of anybody, the 6th best at scoring goals. So, you know, even though we've got this attack, they didn't even do that much, to be honest. And Arda Güler did pick up the joint first amount most of assists, goalkeeper, most clean sheets. So again, a couple of players are contributing, but if we look into the squad, okay, I don't want to say I'm right, but as soon as we actually get a couple of players scoring high 20 goals, we win titles. And Arda Güler, Julian Alvarez, they are going to be the real star players, aren't they? But I would imagine some good defensive displays as well. Where is Badiashile? 7.1. I mean, he contributed 11 goals himself. But I do honestly think Badiashile has come in and been the real big change with the goalkeeper as well, because defensively we're absolutely incredible. Now, what I will say is the team I am leaving you with is this team, and it was the team we went into the season with. You've got Arda Güler, who potentially you could buy. We'll see if he's interested. Ask the agent. He is interested. Is a lot of money though, at 99 million, but maybe you could loan him in again. That is potentially an opportunity. You've got 82 million, so with installments you could bring him in. So technically he is going to be your player if you want him, but overall we've left you with an amazing team. We've got the job done of winning a league title, and also we'll take the Carabao Cup, which I believe does mean we've added in, if I'm not mistaken, a total of another Premier League. I think one Carabao Cup. I don't think they did. Did they have one? One or two Carabao Cups, I've actually forgot. And of course, nearly another European title. We've also increased their reputation to a 4-star team and left you with a powerhouse squad with £82 million to casually spend. So if you have enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Again, if you want to carry on this rebuild for yourselves, the challenge is for you to, of course, try and win the Champions League. You can also get the tactic with that same save file over on the Patreon link below, where you can join over 4,700 people get access to some massive giveaways and also over 10 exclusive perks that I've not mentioned in this video. So go over and check it out. It supports me, and also you're going to have endless entertainment, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Let me know what you think of the new thumbnails. I'll see you in the next one.